Well, can we just do the two meeting minutes? Or do we need to do them one at a time?
You could do both at the same time, sir.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes for both meetings at this point.
I'll second the approval.
Can I go roll call, sir? Mr. Mike Sweeney,
Aye.
Andrew Salazar, Mr. Kerry Rodriguez. Mr. Regensburg was not here for those meetings, so I don't believe he can,
Abstain.
yeah, he'll abstain for this one. But we do have a three, so that's good enough, sir.
So now we can go ahead and get started with today's agenda. Let's see here. Mr. Rogers has come before the board in requesting, is it,
So we're gonna do,
Moratorium.
yeah,
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, one more time. The first one on the agenda is the annexation for Mr. Regensburg's property.
is it? I thought it was the other one.
I'm sorry, no, sir. Unless I have a different agenda in my hand.
It's under
No, that's it, sir.
number 5, item number 5. There's approval of minutes and then planning and zoning discussion.
Right.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get,
Swear in anybody.
let's go ahead and discuss that.
Yes, sir. Before we start that, sir, we need to have people that are gonna speak for or against the annexation to go ahead and stand and raise their right hand. And if you could swear them in, sir, did they give you the swearing procedures?
Not to complete.
Give me 1 second.
While we wait for that, Mr. Chairman, if I may be excused, as I will be presenting, and I have to abstain from this anyway, so
Sure.
like, if I may be excused.
Okay.
Yeah, just for the record, Mr. Vice Chair, Mr. Regensburg will abstain from the vote, but he will participate in the conversation since he will be presenting, because this actual item belongs to Mr. Regensburg.
So with that being said, anybody who's here to discuss, here to oppose or have words against, please at this time stand and repeat after me. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? And you answer, I do.
I do.
You may be seated. So let's see, we're looking at an annexation application presented by Mr. Regensburg.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Regensburg, could you go ahead and give us some more detail on what this is entailing?
The property is located on South Grand, right between the highway and the DOT. There's 2.9 acres, and I believe there's already a portion that is in the city maps that's already annexed, but because the annexation kind of goes in zigzags around there.
Yeah,
We're looking to annex the whole 2.98 acres. Currently, there is a group out of
Oklahoma.
Kansas, right?
Oklahoma, I think.
Overland Group, they're looking to purchase it to put in a Dollar General in that location. We've already gone through the DRT, Development Review Team, to go ahead and get all clearance and see if there's any obstacles that the city would be facing, and according to the meeting, there was none that was present. Another reason I would look to annex it is the GRT, the gross receipts revenues that the city would actually be gaining from this business, rather than going to the county. I think it would be beneficial for the city to garner those gross receipts revenues in the future from this grocery store. That's one of my main objectives, has always been, is to help the city of Las Vegas as well.
Excellent. So just a quick question, this entire 2.9 acres you said,
Yeah,
that'll be utilized for the entire project?
well, no.
Or just a portion of
The building's
it?
gonna be 10,000 square feet from what I gather. The only thing is that when they approached me to buy the property, it's not subdivided or split or nothing, so.
Yeah.
I have to sell it as a whole unless I come and do a lot split or subdivision, divide it in two. So they're probably only gonna use the top portion for it, and the bottom portion will probably remain vacant, I guess. I don't know what they're gonna do after that.
Okay.
There's no plans have been discussed.
Gotcha. And are you aware of like how much area that will take up? I mean, you said the store is about 10,000 square feet?
Yeah, the stores, it's gonna take the top, from what I gather, they've done test holes on the top portion of it for, their engineers are coming and test holes for soil samples and stuff like that, so I'm gathering they're only gonna use the top. There's two tiers where the top, we had already level the top and then it drops down to the bottom, so. I'm
And that back part is the one that you're saying is probably gonna be undeveloped and just open.
probably undeveloped.
And that's the one that runs across the Bibbs, the road in the back?
Yeah, currently it's got an address of 11 Bibb Avenue, Bibb Drive. So as you turn into the highway department, it's right in between the two interstate and the highway department. I don't know if you're familiar, there's a big trailer there that
Yeah.
has a sign there for RV transportation, the DOT training center, so that's the property right there.
Okay.
So, and like I said, there's already, as Lucas and I have discussed, there's already a portion already that's part of the city, which is, it's kind of interesting because when I first went to try to get an address, the county sent me to the city and the city sent me to the county, so I had to go back and forth. So finally, I just got an address through the county on the county part, and then I never did come back to the city for an address on that other part because I didn't feel I needed it at the time.
I don't have any other questions.
Mr. Chair? Just real quick, if the property is accepted into city limits, as per city code, it'll revert to what's considered a residential agricultural zone, an RA zone, at which time me and Mr. Regensburg are prepared to petition the board for it to be zoned properly, for it to be able to house the type of building that's gonna be placed on the property. Mr. Regensburg is correct. There was a portion of the property that was within city limits. And of course, city utilities do run through the area. Gas, water, and sewer all are in the area. During a DRT, a design and review team meeting that's compiled of department heads for each department, including fire department and police department, it was discussed. There was no opposition. Those minutes were put inside your packet, I believe. So you guys can go ahead and see what was requested of Mr. Regensburg. I think that's about it. I think that's all the city has on this side, sir.
It looked like there wasn't really a lot of concerns.
No, sir.
It didn't look like there was a lot of concerns. Except I did see something about the fire department. Or they just need review plans, is that what it is? Need plans?
Yes, as soon as, that'll be something that comes our way when the actual developers, if Mr. Regensburg decides to go ahead and go through with the sale of the property, if they are gonna do any type of development, it'll come back to us and we'll review that again in a different way, sir, and come back to you guys for that as well.
Awesome. Like I said, I don't have any other further questions. It looks like it's pretty well put together. Everything looks like it's in order. There's no concerns. I don't know about the rest of the board, if they have any other questions or concerns they'd like to address with Mr. Regensburg at this particular time.
Did they give you a timeline for the purchase or the sale of the property?
No, they haven't because, they're doing soil sampling, we're working on an actual survey. We did get a legal description from their surveyor, was sent to me, emailed to me last week. And, basically, they wanted to do soil samples and stuff like that before they go ahead with the purchase. We do have a purchase agreement already in place for the purchase, but it's contingent on soil sampling and, you know,
And when, do you know when they're gonna be getting back that soil sample and everything like that? Cause I know the property and I know it was built up just.
yeah, I don't know, I just know that they did it, the soil sampling, they were there 2 weeks ago. You know, I've been on a contract with them already for 4 months, you know, and, you know, it's just a long process because, when we went into contract, it had to go in for approval through, what's called the Overland Group. And that's, I guess that's a group of investors that, own the Dollar General franchise and stuff like that. So that meeting didn't take place till last month actually, and then the Overland Group went ahead and approved, from the purchase, and it's pending on the soil sampling and, you know, other things. But there's enough room there for them to go anywhere actually, you know, the top side of the bottom side. Because you're right, there was fill, when I bought it, there was actually fill, you know, fill on the top side, and I went ahead and, you know, cleaned it up because it was a mess. And I went ahead and pushed all that debris down to the last 25 feet of that first tier. With a bulldozer and everything, and covered that up so that it wouldn't be so ugly. Because it was nothing but concrete and dead trees and stuff like that, so. I did take it down and the first tier is, only the last 25 feet of that are actually debris field that was moved. So they do have plenty of room.
So is it gonna be similar to the Dollar General that we already have? Is,
I don't know, they,
so will they carry the groceries though?
yeah, they'll
Semi-
carry groceries and stuff like that. One of my concerns was, you know, the question of good water. They asked for a study on the water, they only use 200 gallons a day on the max, because they only have the toilets and just to wash the floors and that's about it.
Right.
So that was my concern personally, yeah, because I was worried about that, but it's very minimal, I mean, the usage that they use for water, the rest is all, you know, grocery sales and stuff like that.
What about, I mean, did they talk to you like about traffic? How traffic would be flowing in and out of there, because there's only one way in now, correct?
Yeah, so before I did go into contract with them, I had already gone to the DOT. I had already approached the DOT for an access to the property. And it actually has to be 250 feet from Grand Avenue when you enter the deal. So the access would actually almost have to be, parallel to the, what is it, the bus, where they have the bus pickup,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
parallel to that. And then I was gonna ask for another one on the bottom to have two accesses, one to the top and one to the bottom. So to answer your question, that's where the permit for the access to the property would go. There's actually like a telephone pole there, it would be on the south side of that telephone pole.
Thank you.
And one more question. They're purchasing the whole property, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I tried to sell them half, but they.
Just because it's a large property for all parking,
Yeah.
even with the 10,000.
Yeah, but I'm sure they'll, you know, they wanna expand or maybe put hopefully they may put a warehouse, you know, Dollar General warehouse on the bottom side too. That was one idea that, the guy I talked to is, you know, Andrew Jacobs has kind of mentioned, you know, that, cause I did say, well, would you be interested in just buying the top and I keep the bottom? He says, no, we wanna buy the whole thing, cause, you know, there's a proposed, idea to have a little warehouse to be able to supply all the other Dollar Generals.
Like a transfer station.
Yeah, so that would also be a big plus for GRTs for the city.
And that 10,000 square foot blueprint, is that bigger than the current one? No?
It'll be equivalent to what they have
Oh,
now.
it's equivalent? Okay.
Yeah, and I think they're building one in Mora too right now, right, on Main Street, right as you turn off to the Dukes to the top, right there on the right side, they're building another $2 General there as well.
I have just a couple of questions. One of them was, I thought I heard that part of this 2.9 acres was already city, considered as part of the city.
There is Mr. Vice Chair, and yes, sir, Mr. Sweeney, there is, a small portion of the property that is within the city, but it's maybe, it can't even be 10,000 feet maybe, or 10,000 square feet around. It's very little, if anything.
So then we're not doing an annexation of 2.9 acres.
But his property does span the 2.9 acres.
Yeah,
So we're gonna bring all of it in.
some of it is already city.
Some of it's already
so it
city.
Does not need an annexation on there. Would that be correct? I mean, if it's city, you can't annex it twice. I mean, it's already city.
Yeah, you're probably correct, sir, but I don't have the accurate amount of.
The amount.
Yeah, so if this part, this portion of the,
The part that's not city was, pardon me,
sure.
the part that's not, that you're wanting to annex, when you look for an address, did you end up with a county address or did you end up with a extraterritorial address?
No,
Or
I ended
neither?
up with a county address.
You ended up with a county.
Yeah, because it got convoluted at the beginning, because they were sending me back and forth, and then finally, I just went ahead with a county as a, to get a development permit on it, through the county, to be able to move forward with any process, So technically, all the whole property is addressed as county, but the city map, it kind of jogs right there. It's real zigzags through here and there, and I don't think it would take quite a bit to actually figure out how much of it is, or is it city?
Well, sounds like a lot of hoops you've had to jump through so far.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Chair, so if the property is approved to come into annexation, he will have to get a survey plat, and that'll tell us exactly how much property is in there. And he's exactly right. If you look at the county assessor's map, it's within the city limits. If you look at the city maps, it's without of the city limits. So it's very, very confusing. That's why we told him to go ahead and just put for the whole property, because we don't know where the city property is. With his property coming in, now we have an accurate shot of knowing where our city boundaries at, and this would make a lot of clarification in that area of where we're at as far as city limits.
No more questions.
Okay, no more questions. Like I said earlier, after going through the paperwork here, the notes and it looks like everything's in order. And there's nobody here to speak against it. So I would like to make a motion to approve this annexation.
Mr. Chair, I believe you need to ask for a motion to be.
I'd like to ask for a motion to,
I move that we go ahead and approve this, application.
Second that.
Would you like a roll call, sir? Mr. Andrew Salazar?
Yes.
Mr. Mike Sweeney?
Aye.
Mr. Kerry Rodriguez? Thank you, sir. Motion carries.
Yeah.
If you would resume your post, sir.
okay, as soon as you guys are ready, we can go ahead and discuss the next item on our agenda, which is the discussion of the recommendation regarding special conditions, use permit for crematorium. Lucas, could you give us
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
background on that?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, so Mr. Rogers approached the city of Las Vegas with a special use permit application for his crematorium that would be placed at 2315 Hot Springs Boulevard, otherwise known as Gonzalez Funeral Home. A little bit of history on this situation, sir. Back in 2006, Mr. Rogers had approached the city of Las Vegas in regards to a crematorium. He was going to use a building that was behind or on the side of the actual funeral home. He was going to restore that place and go ahead and place this crematorium in there. It was subsequently approved at that meeting. So he had already gone through the steps of doing this. He then came back to us a few years later. I'm not sure where the project stopped, but I know he's prepared the area to the way the permit was requested at the first one back in 2006. So he returned to see if his permit was still in order. However, according to State Statute 450-75, issuance of a permit, if such conditions of approval have not been satisfied within 1 year after final approval was taken or within such other time limit specified, the permit is null and void. So therefore, he is back to ask for reapproval of this permit. So we're back at square one for him, but he'd like to go ahead and see what he can do with the board, sir. I think if anything, sir, before we move forward, we might want to go ahead and have people stand and raise their right hands and swear him in as well for this as well.
Thank you, Mr. Marquez.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Rogers is here today?
Yes, he is.
So everybody that's here to talk in favor of Mr. Rogers and those opposed, please stand at this particular time and raise your right hand and repeat after me. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mason. So, Mr. Rogers, if you're prepared at this particular time, can you please present to the board?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Billy Rogers. I'm the owner of Gonzalez Mortuaries LLC, also known as Gonzalez Funerals and Cremations. Through the years, we've seen an increase in cremations all over the country, including Las Vegas. At the present time, funeral homes are taking their loved ones out of town. Presently, we're using a crematory in Berlin. And the reason why is that it takes 5 days to have the body cremated and processed and brought back to Las Vegas. We use a crematory in Espanola. The crematory in Espanola takes 3 weeks to have a loved one cremated. We felt that at that point, it's just too long to hold families hostage to have services because of the delay, and this is what prompted me to initiate the process again for cremation. If I might, I'd like to read a letter to you from the cremation systems that we're dealing with. It's to provide certain facts and information regarding the placement of the UL-listed Class 4 human cremation equipment within residential and commercial zones. The crematory is 6 feet wide, 12 feet long, 8 feet tall. On top of that is a stack. It's a metal stack. It's 24 inches in diameter and is lined with asbestos, a 3-inch layer of asbestos inside. There's close to up to 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit that comes out that stack. With the liner that's inside that stack, it reduces the heat excess down to 1,750 degrees, and that's the temperature that we use. The heat that is generated amounts to about 400 degrees Fahrenheit, which is well within acceptable limits of the fire code. The primary purpose of this information is to provide groundwork on our company, detailing experience in the cremation equipment market to you and any others who might review the document. We also enclose the factual information regarding the general location, operating conditions of cremation equipment throughout the United States. B&L Cremation Systems has been designing, engineering, manufacturing, and installing combustion systems for a wide range of industries for nearly 30 years. We are recognized as a leader in cremation equipment design and engineering and are the world's largest independent manufacturer of cremation equipment. Nearly 2,000 installations throughout the United States and over 50 countries. Our designs have been granted U.S. patents, have been adopted in industry standards for quality and performance. In addition, we are one of the largest service and repair organizations serving all brands of cremation equipment. Our equipment operates without smoke or odor. Almost every installation must be permitted by environmental authorities for the city, state, or province in which it's installed. The equipment we manufacture is Underwriters Laboratories listed, confirming maximum safety, equipment, location, and personnel. Each model manufactured by our company has been personally designed and engineered by Dr. Steve Looker and tested by an independent testing laboratory against standards set forth by the federal government. Our equipment's emissions levels are less than half of the allowable standards to ensure environmental quality. Residents of the area may not be aware that the equipment is operating. All equipment that performs combustion from automobiles or furnaces or any other type of fireplaces or crematories give off byproducts, which is referred to as particulate matter. Because of our equipment's high quality standards, these byproducts are not visible, nor is there any odor from the material being combusted. The equipment operates automatically and has built-in pollution detection equipment that constantly supervises the operation, safeguarding against particulates and environmental impact. Noise levels are not detectable from outside of the building and are therefore negligible. Cycle time is dependent on the time of the load or the size of the load. When this cycle time is multiplied by the annual frequency of use, the actual hours of operation can necessarily be quite insignificant. I've enclosed a copy comparing combustion of automobiles, diesel trucks, and a cremator operating a 2-hour period cycle time of the cremation. As you can clearly see, the cremator has lower emission levels. The data for the automobile and truck comes from the United States government's AP42 emission level documents, and the information regarding pollutants from the crematory is based on actual results supplied by the EPA certified independent laboratory. I appreciate your interest and concern regarding the basic information surrounding the installation of our cremation equipment. Feel free to distribute that information to any parties that may be interested. And I might add that the cremation time is roughly 2 hours. It takes probably a 2-hour cool down, and then we have a processor where the cremains are processed. We are regulated by the New Mexico Board of Funeral Service, and the environmental permits will be submitted to the environmental agency. I have a packet. This is a test report that will be submitted to the EPA for approval. And I think that's all I have to say at the present time. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Rogers, for that presentation. It sounds like you know quite a bit about this equipment. I just have one question at this particular time. Do you guys plan on, I see here in some of the documentations that that particular piece of equipment can do 4 to 5 cremations per day? Do you
Yes.
plan on doing that every day?
No,
No, okay.
no.
So will you, at that particular time, will you be like taking in other funeral homes for cremation? Or is it just?
Yes, we would welcome other funeral homes. And
So it's a possibility that you guys could be operating at maximum potential?
Possibly, based on the cremation rates in San Miguel, Moore County, it's not probable, but it's a possibility. Uh-huh.
Another question. Is there, I know you said there's a lot of certifications and the equipment has to pass, standards and stuff like that. But is there like like service maintenance type of requirements that you guys have to pass like annually, biannually, where they come
Yes.
and they recertify
Yeah,
that?
we have
the equipment
a
is putting out
maintenance,
that type of
we have a maintenance agreement that will be signed by the manufacturer. In fact, the unit itself is 6 feet wide, 12 feet long, 8 feet tall, and the stack is 15 feet. It comes in 2 pieces. We have to use a crane to unload the equipment. The concrete deck has to be strong enough to withhold the 12-ton crematory that will be placed on top of it. Then there's a training period where the employees go through a training on how to operate the system. The process, now you've seen what happened up in Penrose, Colorado, where there were something like 189 bodies that were held in a building, and some ranchers were complaining about the fact that there was an odor, tremendous odor coming from this building, and to come to find out it was supposed to be a crematory operation, and they found 189 bodies that were decomposed inside this building. So we're regulated by the New Mexico Board of Funeral Service. We have to submit reports to them. The medical examiner's office in Albuquerque has to approve a cremation permit in order for a body to be cremated. There's certain other things that we have to do in order to comply. And then once the cremation takes place, we submit all the paperwork to the crematory. The family signs authorizations to have their loved ones cremated. And then then we have to go back and pick up those cremains and bring them back and deal with the family for services or whatever they're wanting to do.
Thank you for that, Mr. Rogers. One more question that I have is, from my understanding, this is your second time applying?
Yes.
The second time, if the board does approve it, is there a time frame that you have where you want to get this completed?
Not necessarily. We're just taking it one step at a time, and I'm hoping within 4 to 5 months that we'll be up and running.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions?
Yeah. Did it go up front of the DRT review committee before coming here?
For this particular one, no, sir, because the footprint of the crematorium was already set in place from their prior application. We just had them go ahead and reapply for the special use to put the actual crematorium in there. The footprint is still there. The setup is still the same. Everything is still the way Mr. Rogers wanted it back then. Will still be the same setup.
Basically, there was no concerns back when it first.
No, sir. No, sir. Yeah.
Upon approval, Mr. Rogers, you will be using the same outfit or the same company to
Yes,
do the
yes.
crematorium?
Yes,
It won't be going out to bid or anything else like that?
No, It comes from Florida, by the way.
Yeah. One of the reasons I'll ask questions is because we may approve today, your neighbors may oppose down the line, and later on there's litigation and stuff like that. And we just want to avoid anything that may come in the future for anyone, the city, for you, and anyone for that matter. I mean, That's my take on it.
Mr. Chair, and Board, this is a special use permit, so right now, the capacity you guys are acting as is the Board of Adjustments. So your decision will be a final decision. If there is opposition, they got 10 days to go ahead and enter that opposition, at which point the city council would then be the final say.
You know, it meets all EPA requirements because you're governed and regulated, so I don't have any other questions, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions from the board?
I believe there's a lady.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rogers, for that presentation. We appreciate it. At this particular time, I'd like to ask those, if there's anybody here that oppose, if they would please come and address the board, come up to the front right here.
Mr. Rogers could go ahead and sit back down, sir, if you'd like.
And your name is, ma'am?
Hello, my name is Fabiola Sanchez.
Did you swear in?
Yes, I did. And I'm speaking for myself, and my aunt is Carmen Gomez. And she didn't raise her hand, she doesn't hear well, so I'm speaking for both of us. So first of all, I want to
Excuse me,
apologize.
I'm sorry, I apologize as well. I know you've already stated your name, but can you also state your address for the record as
Yes.
well? Thank you, I'm sorry.
My address is 2317 Church Street, and I have a map to show you, and her address is 2321 Church Street. So if you look at this map, these first 3 blocks here are where Gonzalez Funeral Home is. My aunt owns this property right here, just adjacent to it, and I own the property on Church Street, which is just a block away. So we're very close neighbors. So first, I want to apologize. I just found out about this meeting an hour ago. I didn't receive a notice. My aunt asked me if I could bring her, and she told me about it. So I had little time to prepare. I'm not against a crematorium. I do believe that we need one, just not in a residential area. I plan to be cremated, so I'm totally not against this. But if you know the area from Mills Avenue, where Xfinity and Allsups is, to where the North Star School is, it is all residential. There are no other businesses other than Gonzalez Funeral Home. So that's the first thing. We're all very close to each other, close proximity to Gonzalez Funeral Home. I understand, and I'd love to see if I could get a copy of the report that Mr. Rogers alluded to, but my understanding is that a crematorium will send out 534 pounds of carbon dioxide through that stack. It sends out lots of mercury emissions. So all the mercury that people have in their teeth is melted down because of the high heat that it produces. That goes out the stack. We've got a school that's 2 or 3 blocks away from there. Mercury is very, very dangerous for kids, very dangerous for pregnant women as well. It's dangerous for everybody, but especially the kids. I don't think this is something that we need to have in a residential area. If Mr. Rogers would consider that another property outside in the county somewhere, but not in the residential area, that would be dangerous. He talked about, have any of you gone to look at the site? No.
Well, I drive by there every day.
Okay, well, I would recommend that you drive by there this evening and look at that building that he's going to use. The building is right half a block away from Hot Springs Boulevard. There's an alleyway right behind there, and that building is right on the corner. That building was falling apart. It had cracks all around it. He stated that the concrete must be strong enough to hold the equipment. That building had cracks all over it. And it was restuccoed or concreted, something. But if you go by that building and just stand, you can see all the waves where those cracks were. That building wasn't repaired other than just covered up. So I think that building is not a safe building to hold that. But again, what I would recommend, if we only have 10 days, if we could set up another meeting, that you would not approve this without doing some research. That set up another meeting, I would, like I said, I apologize, I should have known, but I didn't get a notice. I would like to get to talk to my neighbors and let them know what's coming and see if they would be willing to come and speak to you. But I personally don't think that this is a good idea. My aunt is totally against it. And we would ask you to do your due diligence. If you don't want to set up another meeting, at least do some research on it. Like I said, I'm not against, I think our city, our county needs more businesses, so I'm not against it. I'm just against it in such a residential area, so close to a school. It's so dangerous. It really is dangerous, and I would behoove you to do some research on this. But I implore you to set up another meeting and allow us to get some residents, some neighbors to come, and maybe even the schools to come and let you guys know how they feel. But I really, like I said, I'm sorry, Mr. Rogers, if you take offense, but this is our neighborhood. And it's a dangerous, dangerous thing to have it so close, you know. You wouldn't have the dump in the residential area because of the emissions. Why would you have a crematorium so close to my house? You know, so I would ask you, I would beg you to please set up another meeting before it goes to the council. And that you would, like I said, even if you do nothing else, drive by there and look at that building. And you tell me that it's safe. You don't have to be a contractor to know that that building is not safe. And I'm willing to answer questions.
Yeah, sure, for sure. Does that conclude your?
Yeah, unless you have questions.
Well, thank you for that, appreciate that. But if you would still stay seated,
okay.
we do have questions for you after
Okay.
that. One of my questions is, so you're opposed to the crematorium, how do you feel about the mortuary?
They do their service, and they do a good service for our community. I'm not opposed to
It
them.
is a business, correct?
It's a business. Yeah, just not the emissions that it would be. Yeah, I'm not opposed to the mortuary. They do a good job.
And if it would be possible for you to go and talk to Mr. Rogers and get the documentation that he's
I can
sent to
go.
us, would that be satisfactory to you? If it
Well,
comes-
no, I would love to
So-
get the documentation.
Yeah.
That would not take away my objection to it.
Exactly, so.
That would just help me prepare better for another meeting.
Gotcha, thank you so much.
I have I would like to clarify something with you, Ms. Sanchez. I did not notice, and it was not presented on the agenda, that we were discussing this as the Board of Adjustment. The Board of Adjustment, when they decide something, it does not go to City Council. You have other steps that you can take, but would you please explain those, Mr. Marquez, to Ms. Sanchez, that when Board of Adjustment meets and we decide yes, if we approve, then you have to go somewhere else, but it doesn't go to City Council.
And I do
This is-
understand that, but that's what I'm
But
asking
it's not-
is that.
we're not meeting as planning and zoning at
Right.
this point. We're
And
meeting
I-
as Board
I
of
understood
Adjustment
that
apparently.
clearly.
And it's not
If
listed
you
that-
approve it-
It's not listed that way on the agenda,
Yeah.
but it is, that's my
Yeah,
understanding.
so my
at this point.
understanding from him is that if you approve it, then it goes to the council, well, then it'll be approved, and then we have 10 days to object.
That's
But
not my
what I'm
understanding.
asking is that you
That's
not
my
approve it.
No, my understanding that when we're considering something as Board of Adjustment, it does not go to City Council.
Does not, Mr. Chair and Ms. Sanchez as well. So with the Board of Adjustments acts as the Board of Adjustments to this types, the special use permits, the procedures. If they approve of this permit, it is final. That is their final say. You do have 10 days to object to the decision. That in turn then gives me time to get things together to go to council, who they will then act as the final say when it comes to this thing. I want to make some clarification too, because Ms. Sanchez says, and she said repeatedly that she hasn't received any letters. the letters are only meant to go out 100 feet. She may have been out of the 100-foot zone. That's why you may have not received a letter. But I just want to make sure I make clarification of that. That's what's asked of the city of Las Vegas, is to make sure we do a 100-foot radius of letters. So that's what we did, is we followed the 100-foot radius off of Google Earth and got where we had to go up to. Sometimes we make the exception if they're like 3 feet or 4 feet out of the 100-footer. We'll give them the courtesy of giving them an extra letter. I just don't know how far Ms. Sanchez was from the property. Why that might have been the reason why you didn't get one, ma'am. But yes, again, Board of Adjustments is final say on this particular permit right now. But you will have your chance, your opportunity to go ahead and oppose it.
Okay, so that's exactly what I understood. So if you approve it, it will be approved. Then we have 10 days to object. What I'm asking you is not to approve it today. I am asking you to consider it another, for your next meeting, to bring it up to the agenda again. And like I said, if you want, I'll do the research for you and bring it to you if you don't want to do it. But I'm asking you, this is a big decision that's going to impact our youth especially, but our whole community. It will impact us. And I'm asking you not to take it lightly. I'm asking you to reconsider, to table it for a month or till your next meeting, whenever your next meeting is. I will get you the research. And if I can get the report from him, I'll bring you that research. I just ask you not to lightly say, well, we approve it, and if you want to object, you can take it to the council. You guys are in a position to really make important decisions that will affect us. And I'm just asking you is don't just rubber stamp something because it's put in front of you and then say, well, the council can decide.
Thank you, Mrs. Sanchez. Appreciate that. I think we have some other questions.
So you mentioned some different emissions that would be coming out of the crematorium. What data do you have to
Well, like I said, I work full-time. I was at work when she called me and asked me if I could, so I just brought it up quickly. You know, I just have something that I brought off the internet, but like I said, if you want data, I'll get you data.
Well, do you have
Between
that-
his report, I will get you data.
well, if you have that data, you're testifying under oath, ma'am, and you're saying that there's gonna be X amount of emission coming out. You know, you use different words. I mean, if you're gonna use those words, I personally wanna see that data that you're asking us.
Well, like
to-
I said, maybe I don't live within 100 feet, so I didn't get a notice, but I can tell you, I mean, if you've read anything on mercury,
I'm not familiar with anything on mercury because I'm listening to your testimony and your testimony says that there's a emission of mercury gonna come out of there. But I'm asking you, what do you have to substantiate your claim? I mean, because you asked me to consider, if you asked me to consider something based on what you're telling me without substantiating your.
these reports come from the cremation, I have to look for it, sorry.
With all due respect, the other thing, Mr. Marcus, upon construction of this, Mr. Rogers will be required to get a building permit to move forward with putting this crematorium together, correct?
Mr. Regensburg, yes, sir, he'll have to go ahead and come in and get a permit for the construction of the actual crematorium. Just for the record, nobody in the city of Las Vegas is a building inspector, so we can't justify if the building is safe or unsafe. I have been by the building, I have actually even been inside the building. So, again, we're not building inspectors, but we can, say that the property was, fixed up compared to what it was. The wall was leaning into the alley, I'll admit that, but it's been repaired to what I've seen.
As a general contractor myself, I would have to go back to ask Mr. Rogers if there is an engineered design for the crematorium that, that requires a certain foundation, a certain base and all that stuff that he would have to meet, upon putting the system together. If the building is not acceptable as it is, then the, the state inspector or the architect and engineer that designed this would not accept the placement of that of that function in its current location. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into play before he can actually do that, that are regulated by the state as well. And you know, when somebody says it's gonna emit X amount of things, and then he says that it's an up-to-date system, I mean, I need more information than that. I mean, and I'm sorry.
And I do understand that, but like I said, mark my words, if you drive by there and after this meeting, you approve this and you drive by there and see that building the way it is, and you're going to swear that you and that he can say that it's strong enough to hold that equipment, and I don't remember, he mentioned the weight of the equipment, and it, you know,
It may be well that he may have to tear that building down and start anew. I
but
mean,
he was approved for that building already.
It's gonna get torn down and we're gonna put a foundation
It's,
and
it's,
put a new structure.
it's not gonna be from a general contractor's perspective, okay? If he, and I'm gonna use me as an example, if he hires me to go in there and put it in, and I have an architectural design that I have to meet, and that building doesn't meet, I'm gonna tell him, this isn't gonna work here. You're gonna have to tear this down and put it right. He's gonna, I don't know how much money it's gonna cost him to put it in, but if he wants to throw his dollars away and put a $200,000, $300,000 unit in a building that's gonna fall apart, that's gonna be his loss. I mean, he's gonna have to meet the standards for that. But, you know, my main concern is, I mean, I'm a stickler about that. Oh, you know, I mean, if you come and tell me there's gonna be X amount of emissions going out and stuff like that, and we're here today to do this. I mean, I have to go with what's on record, you know, personally.
My final comment is I implore you that if it was your family, would you want to be living next to that where those emissions are going to be coming out? And all you have to do, like I said, I'm begging you to reset it for your next meeting. And like I said, if you don't want to do the research, I apologize, Mr. Regensburg, that I didn't have time to do more research. If I would have known about this, I would have. But if he wants to lend me his report and give me 20 minutes, I will get you that information from his report, if you can give me 20 minutes. If not, then give me till the next meeting. I will have that information ready for you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, just to make a quick point one more time, the 100 footers are required by the city of Las Vegas. It was also put in the Las Vegas optic as required by the city of Las Vegas to give public notice. Also, it was put on the city website as required by law to put in the city website for all citizens to see. So there was notice out there. Just because the letter wasn't given doesn't mean that the public wasn't notified. And also, point of order, sir, is public comment is limited to 5 minutes.
Sorry.
Did not know that. Appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Marquez, for that information. Is that possible to, what?
I guess, and we can allow it for no more than 5 minutes, sir.
There are existing crematories close by. There's a crematory in the residential area at Broadmelly Mortuary in Santa Fe on Luisa Street. There's another crematory that's in Espanola at the funeral home in Espanola. And the emissions, I have a copy of the Mercury report that she's talking about. I'd be happy to share with her. There's more emissions that come from a fireplace than would be coming from the crematory. So that's all I have to say.
Mr. Rogers for that?
Mr. Rogers.
share that report with you about the mercury
Yes, I'll be happy to share it with you.
before you make a decision?
We need a point of order, sir. They can't be talking from the crowd.
Order, so at this particular time, after we've heard both sides, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to either to approve this special permit
I make a motion to approve.
Your second?
I'll second that motion.
Would you like a roll call, sir? Mr. Mike Sweeney,
Aye.
Mr. Andrew Salazar,
Aye.
Mr. Travis Regensberg,
Aye.
Mr. Kerry Rodriguez. 4 ayes, yes, sir, the motion carries.
Thank you so much, Mr. Marcus, for that.
Sir.
Let's see, is there any other point of business, anything else we need to address?
Everything has been covered, sir. I just want to welcome Mr. Travis Regensberg to the board. He was assigned the last council meeting. Is a wealth of knowledge, and we're going to be you guys will be very happy with him on the board.
Welcome.
Sir, I may present to the board a little bit. I served on the board for about 9 years in the past on both plan and zoning and board of adjustment as well. I think we were very successful in a lot of the initiatives we did bring forth at that point. And I did work close with Mr. With the council and everybody to make sure everything was in order. I am a stickler for the rules, so, I mean, I kind of follow them pretty closely.
Excellent,
That way nothing comes back to bite me in the behind later, so
excellent.
that's me.
Thank you, Mr. Regensberg, for that. Looking forward to working with you.
All right, thank you.
If there's no other points of business, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Aye.
Second.
You adjourned?
Meeting adjourned.
Say the time, sir.
Oh, the time is 5 o'clock.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.